Hello, Swamp Fox, and welcome to 2026. This is a January 2026 edition of Fox Chatter. I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year's and got to enjoy some well-deserved time off and able to spend that time with your friends and family. This episode will be focused on recognizing the outstanding performance of our Swamp Fox Airmen and giving everyone a quick look at what 2026 has in store for all of us. We have three guests with us today to discuss some important upcoming events. Chief Bowen is here to discuss the awards program. Master Sgt. Justin Cayton will be providing details on the upcoming Top Gun drill meet in March, and Senior Master Sgt. Mark Fuge from the Top 3 will be talking about a leadership symposium happening in February. Let's start with a quick snapshot of this January drill. This drill will be a typical 2-day drill with a focus on completing individual readiness requirements and preparing for our upcoming exercise in March. Squadrons should be addressing their yearly schedules and providing roadmaps for how we will prepare for each of those events. As the first drill of the new year and coming off the heels of some more relaxed drills over the holiday period, this weekend should set the tone for the rest of the year. So this is going to be a busy year with a lot of large-scale training events and TDYs. So we need to knock out any individual training tasks that will detract from the broader wing objectives of those events. There have also been a lot of changes within the Air Force, so there will also be an opportunity to discuss some of those initiatives and ask questions. You all may hear a lot of rumors on social media. Rather than spreading the gossip, ask your leadership for clarification and find out what is really happening. Don't be shy. If you have questions or concerns, you need to feel comfortable enough to ask your leadership about them, so let them fly. On the topic of Air Force change, General Kenneth Wilsbach has taken the reins as the 24th Chief of Staff of the Air Force. In early December, the Air Force announced that they were no longer pursuing the Deployable Combat Wing Initiative. The DCW framework remains for 27.1 deployments, but for 27.2 and beyond, it's going to be an altered and a new version of an old construct called the Air Expeditionary Wing version 2.0. This is going to apply to us as a 27.2 tasked wing, and again, we find ourselves in uncharted territory. So what does that mean? First, we've been directed to terminate the groupless structure and terminate the A-staff concept. So on Sunday, we'll conduct an assumption of command where Lieutenant Colonel Brian Doyle will formally take leadership of their recently revived maintenance group. The operations group has returned to the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Taylor Blevins, who was previously in command and never formally terminated his G-Series orders. As for the A-staff, we, and specifically Colonel Rimbarger, spent a lot of time and resources developing and standing up our A-staff structure. New unit manning documents were directed by NGB, and we made a bunch of manning and location moves to facilitate this effort. We're working out how to unravel that spider web. Most will simply go back to where they were before we started this process. For positions that were newly created, we will find new positions to work those individuals back into. A revised unit manning document will be provided, and we'll have roughly a 2-year grace period to fix the remaining issues. Some are happy with this reversal, some are disappointed. After all of the effort that was put in, it seems like wasted energy. I would argue that this was a positive experience. We've uncovered some issues and corrected some processes that we would have been unlikely to identify if we didn't make some changes. We shook up the puzzle and had to put the pieces back in place and found that some of the pieces didn't fit correctly. So we're going to take advantage of this opportunity, and we're going to take the good from this experience and ensure that we incorporate it back into our wing. We're not simply reverting back to 2023. We're building a new 2026 that'll have some familiar aspects of the past. Our past was great, but we also tend to look at the past with rose-tinted glasses, meaning we often remember the past as being better than it actually was. So one of the fundamentals of my commander's intent is to be better than before. We are embracing that concept with these structural moves and focusing on the administrative tasks and processes. Tactically, we consistently hit home runs. 2025 was no exception. We completed a 90-day Operation Noble Eagle tasking. We sent our civil engineers to Germany and Japan for training exercises and functional training. Our emergency management team hosted Fox Ember, a national-level exercise conducted at McCready, and provided critical training for wings across the National Guard. We deployed some of our F-16s to the Republic of Colombia and trained alongside our state partner and other international allies for Relámpago de los Andes. We executed a 4-day super drill focusing on agile combat employment, sending aircraft, people, and equipment to Shaw Air Force Base and North Auxiliary Field to simulate fighting in a contested theater. We hosted a medical flag event incorporating our local medical partners into a tactical level exercise implementing real-world training scenarios. We sent 2 jets and a small maintenance footprint to Pituffik Air Base in Greenland to operate north of the Arctic Circle with only 2 weeks' notice. And we continue to operate and train at a high level during a government shutdown with minimal resources. A lot of these efforts resulted in the Swamp Fox receiving national level awards. Our weapons load crew team took first place at a load training event in South Dakota. They beat the other teams by a wide margin and exemplified how well trained and professional our maintenance team operates. Our recruiting team was recognized as the Patriot Award winner, keeping our personnel numbers above 100% for the entire year and surpassing their yearly recruiting goals. Airfield Management was recognized as the best airfield management team in the Air National Guard. They finalized a $40 million runway and taxiway project, established new bird hazard mitigation procedures, supported more than 3,000 local flights, and managed airfield driving procedures to deconflict from all of the construction projects. Similarly, our fire department also won the best fire station in the nation. The fire department has been busy finalizing construction of a new fire facility while they operated out of a makeshift facility built in the World War II era. Their trucks have been stored outside, requiring additional maintenance to keep them operational, and they have been creative in finding resources to borrow from the South Carolina Army National Guard as well as the North Carolina Air National Guard. They responded to numerous personal injury events across the base, including several accidents at the front gate that unfortunately resulted in fatalities. They are our first responders to any medical or fire emergency and also respond to the aircraft emergencies that occur. They also perform the safety inspections that keep our facilities safe. Last year, they also sent personnel to North Carolina to support Hurricane Helene recovery efforts, establishing a local fire station to support an area that had been isolated due to storm damage. We did a tremendous job in 2025, and those efforts did not go unnoticed across the nation and the world. There were so many events and so many exceptional performances that I don't have time to mention them all. Each and every one of you contributed to those achievements, and you should be proud of your efforts. 2026 will present a new set of challenges. As we prepare for our upcoming deployment cycle in 2027, we will have several big events that we need to execute. To practice a little bit of OPSEC, we're going to keep this a little generic for right now. But this spring, we will have a 4-day super drill focusing on agile combat employment and working with our partners from Rhode Island. We will also send members of the Command Echelon for 27-2 to several tabletop training events. Late spring, we're going to send our aviation package and the Command Echelon to Europe for a multi-week training exercise designed to test the full functionality of our Air Expeditionary Wing 2.0. Later in the year, we'll probably send our aviation package back out the door for a pre-deployment certification event, such as Red Flag at Nellis or possibly a Checkered Flag at Tyndall. Those details are still being worked out and refined and will be passed on as they become more solidified. We will also still support numerous squadron-level training events, maintain 24/7 alert, and be ready to support our state and nation in the event of a natural disaster. It will be a busy year, but it'll also be rewarding as we focus on sharpening our tactical skills and doing the mission that we all signed up to do. Welcome to 2026. Fights on. Next, I want to welcome your Wing Command Chief to talk about our awards program. Chief Bowen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Colonel Bose. 2025 was a great year for the awards program, but let me tell you why I say that. Each quarter, we had tremendous amount of submissions from each squadron when we were under the DCW concept. And now coming back into the groups, just for instance, fourth quarter, annual, and quarterly awards, we had over 84 submissions, which is fantastic. It tells me that the supervisors and the chiefs and the flight chiefs are really paying attention to what their people are doing. So how do we narrow it down from 84 to the winners for the quarterlies, which is 6, and then ultimately for the annual winners? We bring a panel of seniors and chiefs together, and we literally sit for 6 to 8 hours going through each 1206 submitted, and we narrow it down. And then we bring in a second board of chiefs to pick from that narrowed pool. So this year, our annual award winners, our airman is Senior Airman Michael Davies. Let me tell you what's special about this one. Airman Davies is from the 316th Fighter Squadron. He's a TFI individual, works out of the propulsion shop. Our NCO of the year was Tech Sergeant Carlos Perez out of E&E Maintenance Group. Our senior NCO was Master Sergeant Bobby Coleman, which actually used to work in egress in the maintenance group, but now he works in the UMD section. And our first sergeant of the year was Senior Master Sergeant Andrew Hunsinker.
And on the officer side, we have CGO of the Year, First Lieutenant Badri Francis from the Mission Support Group in Contracting. The FGO of the Year, Major Lazier Flav Ableza from the 157th Fighter Squadron. The Civilian of the Year is Mr. Robert Wright from the 169th Fighter Wing. Family of the Year, the Thomas family. and the Unit of the Year, the 169th Maintenance Squadron.
Now, let me address a little bit about what each one of our award winners have done. Senior Airman Michael Davies. Senior Airman Davies distinguished himself through superior technical skill, leadership, and initiative. He was instrumental in supporting Operation Noble Eagle, where his keen attention to detail prevented a catastrophic engine failure, earning him a commander's coin. As a leader, he trained 4 airmen to achieve a 100% pass rate and led a team that saved $1.1 million in repair costs. Senior Davies' actions saved the Air Force over $8.5 million in engine replacement and repair costs while significantly increasing engine readiness. Finally, he improved his unit by creating a feedback system and becoming a certified combat casualty care instructor, training 43 personnel. Tech Sergeant Carlos Perez demonstrated exceptional leadership and ingenuity by coordinating a complex cross-border aircraft repair in Canada, saving thousands of dollars, preventing significant mission delays. He masterfully diagnosed a chronic steering malfunction, returning the aircraft to service in just 4 hours. And his foresight in managing resources for another major task increased aircraft availability by 10%. Furthermore, he leveraged his bilingual skills during a deployment to Colombia, serving as a translator to greatly enhance operational coordination and strengthening international relations. Master Sergeant Bobby Coleman's leadership was critical to mission success, driving significant improvements in readiness and efficiency. He ensured 99% alert coverage for Homeland Defense, led a high-stakes Arctic deployment, and enabled 4,000 flying hours. As a master of resource management, he expertly managed $12 million in assets, cut maintenance delays by 18%, and spearheaded a strategic modernization that resolved 63 critical deployment gaps. A dedicated mentor, he improved sortie reliability and certified 30 airmen in agile combat employment skills, with his systematic improvement culminating in 15% increase in the group's long-term deployment readiness. Our first sergeants, and we all know how critical our first sergeants are to the squadron, to the group, and to the wing. Our first sergeant of the year is Senior Master Sgt. Andrew Hunsinker, the wing first sergeant. His leadership was pivotal during missions like Operation Noble Eagle and complex exercise Palmetto Fox. He expertly organized 3 first sergeant selection boards, which helped me greatly because I was new to the seat going straight into first sergeants, and I relied heavily on his ingenuity, his know-how, and how to set up a first sergeant board. He mentored new leaders, to include me, and streamlined readiness processes by implementing a review standard, the SRR, our favorite acronym. He is deeply committed to the airman well-being. During the furlough, he raised over $2,000 to aid families and collected over 500 items for a food pantry and secured 40 Thanksgiving dinners. Furthermore, he championed a culture of holistic wellness by creating a targeted fitness camp. Along with his other first sergeants, they came together to help us get an upper hand on this new fitness standards that are coming down this year. And he's also fostered resilience and directly enhanced the wing's overall mission readiness and morale. First Sergeant Hunsinker is someone that all the first sergeants lean on. I lean on probably 2 to 3 times a week just to get his input and his guidance and his counsel.
All right, and for CGO of the Year, First Lieutenant Badri Francis. He's currently deployed right now, downrange doing the mission, but when he was back at home, and what got him this award was how he ran his 9-member contracting team through a record-setting year. They executed over $26 million in 2025, and they obligated 100% of our facility sustainment, restoration, and modernization funds. He also spearheaded an award of 11 multiple award task order contracts, which those are a 5-year, $49.5 million construction vehicle that helps improve our ability to execute minor construction projects. Moving on to the FGO of the Years, Major Flav Ableza. So Flav was the Ops Group's Agile Combat Employment Project Officer, facilitating our crawl, walk, run approach to how we were going to do ACE operations. He's also the squadron's leader for their TFAT and RAT efforts. And he's been working hard on getting their training program and their compliance rates up to the standards that we need. He's also the Assistant Director of Operations for Scheduling, Training, and Weapons, and he's fused those teams together and made a more productive use of our training programs to ensure that we're getting the most out of all of our training sorties. For Civilian of the Year, Mr. Rob Wright. Rob's jumped in to fill some critical gaps in the wing staff planning processes, and we've also been without a full-time plans officer for close to 10 years. So he's jumped in and helped fill in where we needed that help. He also jumped in on the A staff as we built that for the 27.2 planning, and he synchronized with Rhode Island, being our coordinating person between the two wings, facilitating a very strong and an effective partnership with them. Finally, he's our wing resource advisor, so he's expertly managed resources for the wing staff and provided guidance and mentoring to all of the other RAs across the wing to ensure that we're using our money correctly and legally. For the Family of the Year, it's the Thomas family, and that's Dr. Nick and Miss Ashley Thomas. This year was very tough as we went through a government shutdown, but this family was instrumental in helping us get through it as they were affected directly by this. So Nick is the lead at our Family Readiness Center, and he completely turned that shop around, preparing us for an inspection that was from NGB earlier this year. Coming immediately out of that, we went into the government shutdown, and then he showcased his abilities by finding resources that could help all of our airmen and families that were in need. And he established a food pantry, which provided food for more than 120 families and showed how we can all work together to help take care of each other. At the same time, Ashley was working in finance, and she was helping clear the significant backlog that we had built up across the wing. And she's making sure that everyone is getting paid accurately and timely for all of their travel. She's reduced a ton of those backlogs and payments. At the same time, during this government shutdown, they were both federal employees that were missing their paychecks while they were working night and day to try to help take care of others while they were also being affected. So thank you to both for everything that you did for the wing. And for the Unit of the Year, this year is the 169th Maintenance Squadron. So this year, the Maintenance Squadron has done a tremendous amount of work as they are intimately involved in everything that the wing has to do to execute our mission. So without the planes, we're unable to execute any mission that we're going to be tasked for as far as the aviation package. They earned 3 out of the 4 enlisted annual awards, and they excelled during Operation Noble Eagle, Relampago, Greenland, and all of our various exercises throughout the year. So their airmen embody the Swamp Fox motto of Semper Primus and Always First, and they're leading the charge to make sure that all of our jets are ready to go to execute the mission. We are going through extensive modifications that we're both doing here locally through contracted field teams and also by sending our jets out to depot. They're coming up with creative ways to get them fixed and to keep us at a mission capability rate that allows us to continue training and to get the mission done. Congratulations to the Maintenance Squadron.
So again, congratulations to our annual award winners. Now, what's next for these individuals? We get the distinct pleasure and honor of competing at the Region 3, which the Region 3 consists of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. The competition is going to be heavy and is going to be competitive. I feel sure, along with the other chiefs, that we have a real good chance of winning the Region 3. The great thing about this year is typically in the past, they would do just, I would say, a teams board. But this year, we get to actually take them, if they're available, to go to Savannah for a week and actually board. They actually get to go before the Region 3 officers and answer questions and present how professional they are. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great learning experience for us as a wing and a state. I've invited Chief Master Sergeant Rob Hartzog, and the great thing about that is Chief Hartzog is actually sitting on the First Sergeant of the Year board. So more to come. Keep your fingers crossed, and I know we'll do well.
All right, thanks, Chief Bowen, and congratulations again to all of the annual award winners. Shifting gears to the Top Gun drill meet, we're joined by Master Sergeant Justin Cayton. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again this year, sir. I'm here to talk about the Top Gun drill meet that'll be held March 28th this year. For those of you who do not know what the Top Gun drill meet is, the Top Gun drill meet is essentially the state championship for all the local high schools and schools across the state to participate in junior ROTC drill activities. Last year, we had over 500 students from 14 different high schools across the state of South Carolina, as well as one from North Carolina. Last year, we had 8 food trucks come out. This year, we're going to be having the food trucks come back. We're looking to have 6 to 8 food trucks. We will not be having it at a Joint Force Headquarters building. We'll be having it back at the flight line in front of ops. We're looking for 16 to 20 volunteers. We're going to need score runners who run the scores from the drill pads to the score room. We're going to need judges for each one of the drill pads, and we're also going to need food handlers to help feed the students that are going to be participating as well as the other volunteers. If you just want to come out and support your local high school, you're more than welcome to do that as well. If you are looking to volunteer for this event, or if you want more information about the event, we have sent a base-wide email out if you'll just reply to the email, or you can contact the recruiting team at 803-647-8850.
Justin, thanks for the update on the drill meet. We appreciate you taking the time to share. Now we'd like to welcome Senior Master Sgt. Mark Fuge to the podcast. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, sir. Next month in February, Top 3 is going to be sponsoring a enlisted leadership symposium. We're bringing the aspect of learning a lot of depths of leadership and a lot of knowledge of how to be an effective leader to the base for all ranks. And it's going to be split up between Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Everybody's schedule is different. Everybody's going to be busy, but we want to make this as feasible for everybody to attend the keynote speaker as well as the breakout sessions that we're having. So our keynote speaker that we're going to have 2 sessions on Saturday morning. Her name is Robin Phoenix. She is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army that has done multiple tours overseas. She brings a perspective to talk about how to deal with all the stresses and all the issues that we face with the perspective of humor tinged into it to break up the very, very hard things to deal with. So it's a lighthearted approach to dealing with work, to life, to everything. Look her up on YouTube. She has great speeches that she's done. She's a nationally renowned speaker. Then she's coming to us. Also around that, we're going to have several breakout sessions. We're going to have a pattern of 8 different breakouts broken up into 2 parts of Saturday morning and 2 parts of Sunday morning to allow as many people to come to as many of these as possible. The breakouts that we're going to have, one is going to be the history of McIntyre, the old stories, the legends, the personalities that have been there that many of us have never known or would know unless we hear it. Another one's going to be talking about duty status transition and making a good year for those that are making sure that we have enough points and days and everything. How does that look? And what is that? What creates a good year? We want to make sure that's a known thing. Another breakout's going to be tasking spin up. What goes into preparation for the taskings, for our TDYs, for deployments, the DRMD, which is the document that makes sure everybody knows what slots they're going in. How does that get made? We're going to have one about manning documents, the regular manning documents, the unit manning documents, and the UMPR, putting names with faces and places. What goes into that? And it's not always known until you get to deal with it. And sometimes when you have to deal with those kind of things, you're behind the power curve. So we want to bring this in the forefront. Another one's going to be, what's our budget? How do we pay for what we do? How do we pay for what we have here? How does that look? What does all this go into to finance what we are here? Another breakout's going to be talking about benefits and post-retirement timeframe. How do you set yourself up to be ending your career on a high note and getting everything you need established? And what are benefits out there to take advantage of and are owed to you? And how to make sure we get those. We're also going to be talking about self-care, leadership, and just self-care in general. What about mental health and stress management and personal planning for the worst case scenario and for the best case scenario? Make sure that we take care of ourselves. And that's a really good thing to take a look at ourselves and how do we plan for all the aspects of life. There's also going to be a talk about EPBs, awards, decorations, promotions. How do you gather all information effectively to make those aspects turn out effective and good? So those are the breakouts that we're going to intermix. A couple sessions on Saturday morning around the keynote speaker. Also going to have some on Sunday morning, kind of be able to make as many as possible. A great thing about this is we're going to be giving out raffle tickets at these events. So the more you go to, the more raffle tickets you get and the more ability you have to get some nice prizes. So all of our last year has been funding this to be able to come to fruition. So we want to have some nice prizes. We're going to have some snacks, some refreshment at many of these, if not breakouts, especially the keynote speaker. We're going to have information available for all of the subjects that are going to be talked about. So even if you can't make every single one, which you know you can't, you're going to get information kind of highlighting some of these things so you have some background on these subjects, even if you can't make the actual breakout. So this is what we're bringing to McIntyre from the top 3. We really want to get this information and getting a valuable thing for everybody to attend as much as possible across the base. And the many facilities that we're going to use are across the base to do these breakouts too. So thank you very much.
As we wrap up this month's episode, thank you again to everyone for your efforts in 2025. It was a busy and challenging year. 2026 is likely to be a level above that as we prepare for our deployment cycle in 2027. Our goal is to make this year's challenges involve tactical issues focused on making us more lethal in combat and less administrative. We've had a lot of administrative changes and pushed those issues to try to restore processes that will hopefully make the admin run more smoothly in the future so that we can focus on getting after the mission. We always excel when we're challenged, so I'm sure we're going to crush 2026. I also want to thank Captain Brittany Thomas for everything she has done for the wing while serving as the executive officer. She's moved downtown to the headquarters and is working on our state partnership program. First Lieutenant Michelle Jenkins has been selected as her replacement, so please congratulate her and assist her as she gets settled into her new assignment. That's going to wrap up this January 2026 episode. I am proud to be a Swamp Fox and serve alongside you. Semper Primus.